Hi guys, we're going to migrate Angular Ngmodule to Angular Standalone API, and we're going to be demonstrating with these small projects, which is a pet shop. This allows me to adopt pet by adding to cart. So I have this toast message. Then I can go back and add more. So you want to add this golden retriever. So you add to adoption cart like that. And then in our navbar, we have this cat icon. And then I can click here. And then we have the cat that we've added into our cart for adoption. Now if I refresh this, our cart data persists, so we're using local storage to persist this in the browser. Then I can confirm adoption, and then I get this toast message. I can go back to the home page. Okay, I'm gonna leave this at for now. Now to go to our code. Okay, so I'm going to open this. Alright, so I have this running here. Where is the code? So this is Angular Ngmodule. It's a module-based architecture. So when we run this script, when we run it, I'm running it in the terminal, so it's compiled successfully. So what it does, what this script does, is it looks into our angular.json file, and then it looks at, okay, it says the main, the root of our application is main.ts, so it goes into our main.ts, and then it bootstrap our application with this platform browser dynamic, which is the platform we're building for. And then in bootstrapping our application, it passes this root module, app module, which is app.module.cs here. And then in our so this is for, app.module.ts. So here we have our ngModule decorator, and then in our declarations array we have all the components that we use across our application. So we just import the components here, and in our providers we have the services, pet service and tool service. And then perhaps we should look at pet service. Inside our pet service we have our data. So these are data. I'm loading the images from, I'm loading it locally, so it's in asset images folder here. By the time we update, I think this folder structure should be different. I think the images, it's not going to be inside assets folder, but we'll see. So we're using Signal to monitor our data across our application. So what Signal does is it gives us this fine-grained what is it called? Is it fine-grained reactivity, where when our data change across our application, only the specific UI, the specific component that require the changes is updated. So that gives us a better, a more efficient way of managing state across our application. We're not just using Signal for our pet data, we're using for our cat component as well. We're using dependency injection. We're injecting storage service here, what is this? Storage dot service. Where is it? So storage service.ts. So we have some methods here. This is for setting item for into our local storage, and this is for getting item. We also have some other methods like remove item, clear for clearing our local storage, and then we're injecting this method into the service. We're injecting it into our pet service, because we have this as injectable decorator here. And then here in our service we have this read only computed for our cat counts. And in our constructor we are we're firing these two functions. Effect is a function that fires when the signal it monitors changes. So effect is it's useful for side effects like logging and local storage. So we're using that to set our item for our pets in the local storage, and then for our cat as well. So our photo structure for Angular Ngmodule looks something like this. So, oh sorry, I think this is for standalone, is it? So this is what I hope to show you. But in any case, let me close this. This is our folder structure. We have our source folder. Inside of our source folder we have this app folder, which is where the magic happens. So this is where our application is. We have these components: cat, pet card, pet data, pet list, and then our top level component, which is app.component.cs. So basically that's what this application is. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be migrating to the next Angular version. So I'm on Angular 16 here. So the approach we're going to use, which is the safest approach, is to upgrade incrementally. So I'm on Angular 16, I'm going to upgrade to Angular 17, and we're going to walk through that together. So I'm going to go to Angular here. We go to the Angular home page. So I'm going to search for update guide. So update guide. So here say select the options that match your update. So the default we have is 20 to 21. So we can only update from one version to the next version. So I'm on Angular 16. I'm going to pick Angular 16. So I have this warning: be sure to follow the guide below to migrate the application to the new version. So I'm going to pick choose 17 here. Okay, now I have to pick an option here based on my application complexity. My application is quite basic. I can pick medium if I like, and then down here it says other dependencies. I don't have any business here. I'm not using Angular material. Whereas, so guide to update your Angular application version 16 to version 17. Say it says that Angular 17 support node versions 18. So at the least, to migrate to version 17, we need node version 17. Well, if you're coding Angular, I'm assuming you already have you should have Node.js installed on your machine. And then for TypeScript, we need version 5.2 or later. And then this is saying make sure that you are using a supported version of the Zone.js before you upgrade your application. Angular v17 support zone.js version. I think this should update for us when we run the update command. So I'm not going to worry about this for now. What else? Then it says you may need to adjust when we get to this bridge. We're going to cross it. So after you update, you don't need to do anything after moving between these versions. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to copy this command, and then I'm going to paste in my terminal. But first I'm going to stop our application. Ctrl C. Then I'm going to paste the command here. Now if I press enter, this command is not going to work on my machine. And the reason it's not going to work is because I don't have Angular CLI installed globally on my machine. So what I like to do is to use a node package runner npx. So what npx is going to do is it's going to download Angular CLI temporary in memory, run this command, and then delete the Angular CLI later on. So that keeps my global environment clean. That way I don't have to keep updating my global environment each time Angular releases a new version. So this is what I like to do. In your case, if you have Angular CLI installed globally, you don't have to prepend this command with npx. So I'm going to press enter, and then we're going to see what happens. Let's see. Now another thing, you should already persist this in a version control. So I have this. If you didn't persist this in a version control, like if you didn't have a git commit or anything like that, this command is going to fail. That's another thing you should watch out for. Okay, so I think this update command is working in my case because it is installing packages. Now you're wondering why we might want to migrate. So I have this small infographic here. It says Ngmodule versus standalone components. For Ngmodule, the traditional architecture, it organizes app into modules. I think we've talked about that in our code when we talked about our root module. So we have all our components here, and it says it requires explicit declarations. Obviously, it says it manages dependencies, explicit bootstrapping, using the platform that we are building for. Then complex routing setup. We're going to be getting into that. I don't think I mentioned routing, but I think in app.routes .cs, where is it? So app.routing.module, this is where we define our route. Of course, updating is happening, so that's why we're getting that error in our text editor. Now, more boilerplate code, yeah, and then it's less optimized for tree shaking. This is a huge drawback for Angular Ngmodule because for less optimized, it's less optimized for what is it called? For tree shaking. So this uses a webpack. So in Angular, for instance, when we import when we import a component in our declaration array, everything there, it's imported. So when we build our application for production using Webpack, it's just we get a less optimized build because the boilerplate is much more, if that makes sense. Now for standalone API, it says self-contained component, implicit declarations, simplify dependencies, automatic bootstrapping, simplify routing, less boilerplate, and better tree shaking. So it's like it's making up for all the drawbacks that we have here, or all the inefficiencies that we have in a traditional Ng module. So let's see whether we're done with our updating. So it's installing packages. I'm going to leave a link in the description if you want. If you don't want, maybe you can regenerate it with the AI. What else do we need here? I think we just have to wait for this to be true. So it says package is successfully installed. What else do we need here? Okay, so it's putting finishing touches to the update. Alright, so I think migration completed, no changes made. Now when we go back to our code, you realize we're still using the module architecture. Inside our main.cs, we still have our app module, which is from app.module.cs. Where is our app.module.cs? So we still have this. So our migration is not quite complete because our plan is to move to standalone API. So the next thing we need to do is to run another command. What is it? I have migrate.txt here. Okay. So here we have. So after running this update, if you have a production application, in your case, you might want to run. So after each update, say run ng build, fix any issues, test and commit. Mine is just for development, it's just for demonstration purpose, so I don't have to run ng build. But if you have a production application, you can run this and fix any issues and test and commit. So after step 1, the step 2 is to migrate to standalone components, which is going to give us a key structural change. So the command we're going to run next is ng generate Angular core standalone, and then the mode convert declarations to standalone. So I'm going to copy this command. And then we're going to go to our terminal. I'm going to clear to make room for space, and then I'm going to paste this here. Now again, I'm going to prepend this with npx since I don't have Angular CLI installed globally on my machine. So I'm going to prepend this with npx. In your case, you don't have to do this if you have the Angular CLI. So after this, I'm just going to is this spelling accurate? Step 2. Aha, it's not accurate. Standalone. Okay, so I'm going to press enter. Let's see whether this. Okay, don't mind this. So invalid values, argument mode given, convert to declaration standalone. Okay. I don't think that command is working. So maybe I'm just going to do this, or do we need to search the internet for the command to use? So I think I'm going to remove this part and then go with this. So I'm going to paste this and prepend this with npx, and let's see if this works. So I don't think that flag was working for what we intended it for. Okay, so say, okay, choose the type of migration, convert all component directives and pipes to standalone, remove unnecessary ng classes, bootstrap the application using, so say use arrow key. Okay, I have this migration here. So when we run this, when we run migrate to standalone, what is a command? This command, we have this option, convert all component directives pipes to standalone, and then the next one is remove unnecessary ng margins. So I'm going to go here and then I'm going to do so choose the type of declaration. I want this. Okay, so convert component directives and pipes to standalone. Which part in your project should be migrated? Which part in your project should be migrated? I think I'm just going to press enter. Okay. Automated migration step has finished. Please verify manually that your application builds and behaves as expected. Okay, so we've done with 2.1. The next one is to remove unnecessary ng modules. So we're going to run this command again and go back here, and then this time we're going to pick the next option. So I'm going to do npx and then I'm going to paste this. So the other time we pick this, convert all component directives and pipes to standalone. So this is what we're going to pick now. Remove unnecessary ng module classes. Which parts in your project should be migrated? I'm going to stick with the default. Okay, so it says automated migration step has finished. Alright, so that's that. So the next one is to switch to standalone bootstrap. So again, I'm going to copy this. Okay, I have it copied on my clipboard already, so I'm going to do npx, I'm going to paste, okay, and then enter. And this time we're going to pick the third option, bootstrap the application using standalone APIs. So I'm going to click enter and enter. Okay, so now we have everything updated. Even our app.module.ts has been deleted. So let's go back to our code and let's see what we have. I think that's all we need to do. Step 3 is to migrate to the new build system for faster builds. It says once on Angular 18 plus run. I'm not on Angular 18 plus, I'm on Angular 17, but I don't think I need to run this because I don't have name use application builder. me see, what else do we have here? And this is for production build. I'm not gonna go through with this. Ng update at Angular CLI name equals use application builder. I don't know, let me try this whether it will work. But this is saying Angular 18 plus. I'm on Angular 17. Coming. Okay, let's go back to application. Let's see the new changes made. So this is gone. Okay. Let's look at our main.cs. Okay. Now we went from this platform browser. Okay, now our application is being bootstrapped using this bootstrap application, and then it's passing our top level component, app component here, and then we have these providers: browser module, app routing module, pet service, tool service here. What else? In our top level component, app.component.cs. Okay, now we have standalone true, and now we have our imports here in our import array. So now this is using standalone API, so it's different from what we have the other time. And then what other changes? Okay, our images are retained in our asset folder. Okay, no problem. And then our components remain the same, except we don't have app.module.ts. That root module is no longer here. So now we are on standalone API. Do we have app.config.ts? We don't have it. Okay, but this should work for our purpose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to relaunch our application to see whether npx ng serve. Before I run that, let's see our package.json. Let's see what has changed. Okay, now we are on Angular 17.3.12. Okay, Zone.js has been upgraded to version 0.14.10. Okay, what else? Okay, so I'm going to run this command to see whether our application still works as before. And in the event that we have any breaking changes, we're going to fix that together. So if you look at our components, this is pet list. Look at the class. You realize standalone has been set to true, and these ng4 directive and ng if, they are being imported here. So they imported from Angular common, which is a common module. So all our components, whatever components we need inside another component, is going to be imported as a is going to be imported inside the array imports. So each component is now standalone, unlike before when we have some kind of monolithic architecture where all our components are imported inside the declaration array in our app.module.ts. That is in our root module. That's the traditional ng module. So every component now is standalone. So whatever component we need here, we have to import it. So we need a pet card component inside our pet list component. We're importing it. We're using these ng4, ngif directives. If you go here to pet list, so we are using this ng4. I'm not going to bother us with this, although I can tweak this to use the modern if built-in functionality. But in our subsequent tutorial, we're going to be looking at that. So I'm just going to leave this as it is. Let's see. Okay, so our application builds successfully. It compiles successfully, sorry. So let's look at what we have in our browser. If I refresh, okay, so it's still, I'm going to do hard refresh. Okay, so our application still works as before. We can add this to cart, back, can add this auto adoption cart, and then back to our navbar. If I click this, okay, confirm adoption, okay, so go back here. If I clear data, hold on, I go back to shop. So the other thing I didn't show is I can clear data. So this clears data. All data has been cleared. So if I go back here, it says available pet 0. All pets have been adopted. Come back later. So I can reset here, and then this brings back our data. Okay, so I think that's all for this tutorial. In subsequent tutorials, we're going to be bootstrapping the latest Angular. We're going to be bootstrapping our application with the latest Angular CLI. But for this migration, I think this has worked well. I went from 16 to 17. If you want to go higher, you have to go through with what is it? Yeah, this readme. If you wish to go beyond 17, then you have to do what we did again, step by step. So you can run updates. So next version is going to be 18. So this approach is the safest approach for those of you who have your application in production. So maybe you are on 16 like mine, then you go to 17, and after 17 you go to 18, 19, 20, like that, and then you just rerun the commands like we did in the previous setups. So guys, that's all I have for this tutorial. I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.